show for you today. We want to say thank you for the Freedom Patriot Group who hosted a meeting, their first meeting in Tuolumne County this last Tuesday night, and it was an honor to actually be there and be able to talk and express who I was and why we're running for Congress. We also had other candidates running for local offices who were there, and Senate candidates such as Jack Griffin was there, who is running for State Senate 4, which is the Tuolumne County area, Calaveras County, Amador, Madera. They're actually Senate District 4 is one of the biggest and the largest Senate district that the state has. It's kind of funny, but Jack Griffin was there representing the state Senate, talking about his campaign and what he was running on. We have so much going on. I want to thank everybody who showed up to our fundraiser in Oakdale on March 27th. Great pancake breakfast, great time that we had out there. We would like to invite you guys to the next one, which is going to be May 1st. It's at Adams Motorsports in Sonora, California. We're going to actually have another pancake breakfast and another motorcycle ride. Alongside with me that day, though, there is a special guest, Daniel Mercury, who is running for Congress, will be up here also. And Jack Griffin, that's his district. We're all going to go show our support and meet local people. We're also going to have a pancake breakfast and go out for another ride. So if you guys are around the Sonora area or would like to take a small ride up to Sonora, have some pancakes in the morning, and then go for another motorcycle ride, you are more than welcome to come join us. If you just want to meet 3 candidates, you're more than welcome to come out to Adam Motorsports. They're off Tuolumne Road. That's May 1st, so mark that on your calendar. May 1st, pancake breakfast, once again with Diego Martinez, candidate for Congress. We also have Daniel Mercury coming up from down south, who is running for governor, and Jack Griffin, who is running for State Senate 4, District 4. So looking forward to seeing all of you guys out there that day. It'll be exciting. It'll be nice just to meet different candidates. This Sunday, I am going to be in Patterson, California, their Easter festival. We have a booth there. Come on out. Come say hello. If you are in Patterson, it's crucial that you come out, meet candidates, talk to us. Let us know what your concerns are. We can't fix anything if we don't know what your real concerns are. We all understand California has a lot of problems. We all understand that there's a lot going on. Had Stanislaus County GOP had their Lincoln dinner. I want to thank everybody who actually went out to the Lincoln dinner and had an opportunity to listen to Congressman Tom McClintock speak in person. My outtake of that was we need accountability for not only the Democratic Party, but the Republican Party. It is sad that when a sitting congressman, and I'll say it, a lot of you guys might not believe this, I was there. If you want to see a video of it, go to Stanislaus County GOP or StanislausCentralCommittee.com and watch Tom McClintock's speech. It's the same repeat. Water, economy, education, bad laws. When are you going to hold the Democrats accountable? Well, Tom McClintock, I got a question for you since you didn't want to talk to me that night. Here's a simple question. When are we going to hold you accountable for being in Congress for 10 years and not doing anything about it? It's easy to point the finger at other people, and that's what's been going on in this country. We keep pointing the finger to other people. Stop. It's time that we point the finger at our elected officials. Tom McClintock, you've been in office your whole life. You are the epitome of what we call a career politician. They call you the champion, the people's fighter. Well, sir, we haven't heard from you in 5 years, and you haven't fought for us. Where were you during the recall, Tom McClintock? Where were any of our elected officials during the recall? We want to talk about change. We want to talk about voter integrity. We want to talk about fraud. We want to talk about all the problems in the United States. Does anybody know the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Isn't that what we're doing when we turn around and we keep voting in the same people? Just because they're Republican, we don't want to lose a seat, so we keep a bad Republican? Yet we want to bitch about education and taking a bad teacher and putting them in a bad school district. We're doing the same thing with our congressmen. We're doing the same thing with our assemblymen. We're promoting them. We're giving them jobs, hoping, praying that next year will be different. Folks, It hasn't changed in 10 years. Why is it going to change now? It hasn't changed. Why do we keep voting the same people in office? Want to bitch about Nancy Pelosi? She's been in office 40 years. Why? Because we keep electing her. Because we allow people to keep electing her, because we don't get behind grassroots candidates who want to go in there and make a difference. Because if you don't have money, name recognition, nobody wants to talk to you because you don't have a chance to win. That is BS. Everybody has a chance to win if the right people get behind them. If the California people start saying enough is enough with career politicians, let's make a difference. We don't care what party you're with. You have failed us. You have failed the American people. Let's stop. Let's put an end to this. Let's get rid of career politicians across the board. Don't worry about parties. Guess what, folks? Both parties have failed us. Both parties have failed the California people. You don't believe me? Show me an elected official, one Republican that wasn't running for governor, that actually stood and fought with us for the recall. Show me one. I'll wait. Because there wasn't any. The Republican Party failed us. They failed to stand up with us. They failed to push the recall. They failed the California and the American people. You're talking about all the bad policies the Democrats are doing. Well, that's why we have you in Congress, Tom. We have you in Congress to stand up and fight for us, for the other side. For the people that say, no, do not stop the XL pipeline. American jobs first. Do not send $14 billion to Ukraine. The American people need it. The American people's tax dollars should not be going to another country right now. They need to stay here. We need to fight, and we need to get American back, and we need to start thinking American first. But we need to start doing that by change. And change starts June 7th when you go out and vote. Start voting for that underdog. Start voting for that person that's actually going to go there and fight for you. Stop voting for the same people just because you remember their name. Because when you remember their name, look at the gas prices. Look how high it is. Because if they're an assemblyman, they should all get fired right now. They all had a chance to stand up for the California people and lower our taxes 50%, 50 cents a gallon. It's a lot of money when you're putting a lot of gas. But no, they chose to keep it. Instead, they want to insult you. They want to insult me. They want to insult the California taxpayers by saying, we'll give you $400 back. No, reduce the price. You can do it. But instead of doing that, what do? You want to send us $400? That's 4 tanks of gas. And officials are a reflection of voters. It is, if it's a fail, then it's failed by the American people. Cannot blame it all over on elected officials. Nobody's blaming all the elected officials, but what I'm saying is we elected you to be in office. So when the Democrats are doing something that you don't believe in, why aren't we hearing about it? Why do you have to talk about it when you want to get reelected? Why do you want to talk about that when you want to come here and get our money? Yet when we need you to stand up and say enough is enough, you don't. Yet you want to come, we pay $100 a seat to sit down and listen to you, bitch and complain about all that's bad when you've been in office for 10 years. And you want to point the fingers at everybody else. Stop. Our problem, yes, it is the people who voted these people in. But it's also their fault for not doing their job right. Now it's our fault for not holding them accountable. That's why I'm saying stop voting for elected officials. Stop voting for anybody who's in office. Stop giving them a promotion. Start getting new blood in there. You want change? It starts with us. You want to do something different? It starts with us. It starts when we go to vote. It starts with what we need to do. There you go. Perfect example here. Why do we have to keep calling their damn offices when we don't want a bill to go through? Why? But here's the difference. Why are we calling them and they're not calling us and saying, hey, this is happening? Alert. Nobody ever wants to talk about it. Nobody wanted to talk about AB 1993 because it was going to go up to vote. Nobody wants to talk about making the sheriff now have to follow COVID laws when the sheriff is an elected official of the people by the county. Now they want to say if you're talking bad about COVID, it's against the law. Why? Where's our representation? Where's the people that we put in office? You want to know why it doesn't change? Because they keep feeding us their same line of crap and we're not getting involved. We're not looking and seeing what we need to change to make different. We're not saying, hey, stop. We don't want that law to pass. Anybody here can answer this for me. Why is it that the XL pipeline got shut down? What was the purpose of it? Yet, our president turned around and signed a deal with Russia, allowing their pipeline to continue. give them exclusives to it. We have a problem there. Let me ask you this, since everybody said it's the voters' fault. Do we hire somebody, do we elect somebody to represent us in Congress? Do we hire somebody to represent us in the Senate? So when this happened, shouldn't our congressmen have said no? Democrat or Republican, shouldn't they have stood up and said no? Those jobs belong to American people. That's why we need this XL pipeline open. We cannot shut it down. Yeah, nobody said anything. $14 billion getting sent to Ukraine. Yeah, we have homeless people. We have people with no insurance. We have drug addictions. We have border securities. We have water problems in California. Do you think that $14 billion could have stayed in the United States and could have done something? Yeah, nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to sit here and say, hey, you know what? Maybe sending money to other countries right now isn't the right thing. Maybe right now keeping that money in America and fixing America first and actually going back to being a nation, an independent nation. Because if any of you actually out there think that the gas prices have gone up because of the war, you are mistaking. The gas prices have gone up because we shut down the XL pipeline. There was a time, not very long ago, that California was the sole provider of all the gas and fuels used in the United States. Now we have a zero drop. Now we're asking Ukraine and Russia and Saudi Arabia and all these other countries to bring us the oil here, the raw oil, so we can make gas. Yet their tanker sits at port and puts out more fumes, more exhaust, more carbon monoxide than anything than what California produces in a year. Yet they want to take your small motors away. They want to take your lawnmowers away. They want to take your gas weed eaters away. That is called insanity. That is called stupidity. And that's what we're dealing with right now. So for somebody to tell me that's not our elected officials' fault, why the hell are they doing that job then? Because when I was the general manager of a car dealership, if the car dealership didn't sell money, if we didn't make enough money, if we didn't do stuff, guess what? I got fired. It was my fault. It wasn't the technician's fault. It wasn't the salesperson's fault. It was my fault because guess what? I got put in that job to do that job. So we're asking less of our elected officials? Is the Keystone Pipeline delivering oil today from No, actually it got shut down 100%. And that's the problem. We lost American jobs. Now, they want us to go green. Why are we going green? What happens when the power goes out? What happens when we can't generate anything? Are we not looking at a future? PG&E is having a hard enough time keeping the lights on. Summer's coming, folks. You guys look outside right now, it's 95 degrees. When it gets to 100, 110, you can't turn on your AC. Your rolling blackouts are coming out. What happens if your car hasn't been charged? Why are we getting lithium batteries from China when we can actually do it here in the United States? We all sit here and we say we don't believe in child labor. We don't believe in exploiting people to work for less money, right? But we're okay with China doing it because we get our products for cheaper. We're okay for somebody else to do it and we're okay supporting them. But it's not okay to do it in the United States. If you're not okay with it here, why are you okay with it there? Just a question out there. Why don't we start talking about America first, American-made products? Why don't we start supporting our own country and being independent? Why don't we hold our people accountable? I thought it was just the Phase 4X relocation that was shut down. It lost permanent to keep going because the Brandon eco-family friend lost his whole business with the stroke of a pen. So the XL pipeline, if I do remember right, they shut the whole thing down. Now, they were talking about reopening a portion of it, which means it might be what you're talking about. I will actually look into it today. And next week when we come back on the show, I will actually have a definite answer what is getting pumped from the XL pipeline, if anything, if they have actually started it. Because as far as I recall, it was 100% shut down. We lost 7,500 American jobs that day by a stroke of a pen. But I will be more than happy to do a little bit more research and start digging into if there's any portion of that pipeline that is still open and employing people. That is important for all of us to know, the good and the bad of every site. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in California here because this is important to each and every single one of you. Stanislaus County District Attorney just did a press conference release, which is very important to all of us. Why? because if public safety is important to you, you might want to listen. And here we go again. We're going to have to pick up the phone here and call legislators and say, stop, we can't let this bill happen. So during COVID-19, CDC, or what they did is they reduced the time or gave more credits to inmates who were in jail so they could get out sooner.
You have mail.
COVID-19 and what's going on in the prisons. Now they want to make that permanent. See, when you're in a state of emergency, you have the right to be able to do stuff like that. So the Department of Corrections turned around and said, okay, so here's what we got. From good conduct people that usually get 20% credit, now went up to 33% of credit. Nonviolent second strikers went from 50% to 60%. So let's go to that just a little bit. They want to make these laws permanent. So that means if you get 10 years for a nonviolent offense, and guess what? They're considering rape not violent, domestic violence not violent, anything to do with children or pedophiles, those are nonviolent crimes. So these folks that get 10 years will actually only do 3 years, 4 months. This is an insanity, and this is something that we need to put a stop to. This is also something that we need to be aware of that is going on. Legislation right now is going to make it easier for people to break the law. It's going to make it easier for criminals to get out sooner so they could go back and reoffend. We have got to go back to public safety. We have got to go back to a state of law and order, which we have lost. We talked about it a little bit about it last week. Back to the Future, perfect example. 1985, go back, Biff is in charge. There's chaos everywhere. The town looks like crap. Nobody's taking care of anything, right? Well, what are we doing now? Isn't that almost like the same thing? We're allowing minor offenses to be considered minor, which is a cite and release, no longer jail time. We don't hold people accountable for anything. We don't even hold our own legislators accountable. And when you do, you get, well, you guys voted them in. Exactly. We voted those people in. It's time to vote them out. What are we going to do, America? Phase 4 project that was shut down, yes. Many jobs were lost in a single pen stroke. I agree. I'm going to take another look at that. So if that's what you're saying, I'm actually going to agree with you. I haven't looked at it for a while, but it had said it was the whole pipeline. If it's phase 4, we'll take a look at it. 7,500 jobs are still lost to American people. Our gas prices still went up, and it's all because of that, whether phase 4 happened or not. What are we going to do? We are in a crucial time in our country and our nation. The late Ronald Reagan said, we're one generation away from socialism. Are we going to be that generation? Or are we going to stand up and fight? Are we actually going to get our wits together and fight for our liberties, our freedom, for our constitutional rights that are trampled on us every day, that are getting taken away from us? What side of the coin do you want to be at come June 7th when you go and vote? Do you want to keep re-electing the same people into office over and over and over again, expecting a different result? Or are you with me? And are you fed up? And are you ready for change? And we're ready to take an opportunity to move forward. Are we ready to take the next step forward and make a change in this country for a positive? Get new blood into Congress, get new blood in Assembly, get new senators, and get the right people in place? Are you ready to actually take the House, take the Assembly? Because it can be done. You know, I love to hear people say, oh, it's going to take us 3 years to get the state Senate. No, it's not. It takes one election cycle to elect the right people and remove the wrong people to take control. We need 5 seats. You're telling me we can't get 5 senators in the state of California elected? Are you telling me that we're not strong enough to make the right decision, to actually forget about party lines? Forget about party lines and start voting the right people, the people who actually care about the California and the American people? Are you telling me we don't have that wits about us? I don't believe that. I believe that's just about education, educating your neighbors, and stop talking about party lines. Yeah, it's close to being done. My buddy provided all the wiring from welding wire to the internal wiring. He said they needed to build more, but land permits were denied. What are we talking about? Bigger loss of Americans were the fracking bans and the pause on drilling on federal lands. 100% agree. I 100% agree. We need to actually start drilling back in America. Federal land needs to be drilled. The coast of California needs to start getting drilled for oil so that we can provide. I believe that America should be independent from any other country. And there's only one way of doing that, guys, and that's making America independent. Bringing jobs back into America and all nations of America, deregulating California, especially California, because California is the leader in this. We need to have our people deregulate California, make businesses welcome in California, not give them a pass to go to Texas or another country. We need to actually stand together for once. This is the time. There is no other time. Just like I said, the late Ronald Reagan said it best. We are one generation away from socialism, and we're here. We're at the crossroads right now. We need people that want to make a difference. We need people that want to work for the California people. And if they don't work for you, vote them out in 2 years. Get somebody else till we get the right people. New era, new day, new year. Time to strike and make what was right back to free California. We will not be another director state. Get Newsom and the failed legislation out and bring in the real fighters. That is 100% what we need to do. We need to fight. It's time. Enough time has gone by. You guys, I'm going to talk a little bit about voter integrity, fraud, stolen elections. That's a tough subject because everybody has their own opinion about this. And either you think the elections were stolen or you don't. And there is no happy medium. And the funny thing about that is that we're all entitled to our own opinions. But let's talk about reality and what's really going on. Simple question here. Were the elections stolen? Was there fraud? Are California elections being stolen every day from us? We'll get back here in just a few minutes. We are on KPSF DB Radio and with Diego Martinez on all social medias. Diego for Cali 2022 on Instagram. Diego for Congress. Diego Martinez for Congress 2022 in Facebook and YouTube. We'll be back in a few minutes after this brief cut. So while we wait to come back on the air here, we'll discuss a little bit of this. Start leaving your comments down at the bottom so we can actually talk about a little bit more of this coming back here in about 34 seconds. We'll be back on the air. Programming live on KPSF DB Radio right now, and we run all week till our new program comes on. We're on all social media platforms. If you guys like to donate to my campaign and help the cause, please go under on the comments, find the donation link for Diego Martinez for Congress, or you can go to DiegoMartinezForCongress.com, hit the donate button. Everything is welcome. Every little bit helps because we do have to get all new signs. We have to get more literature. Our literature just came in. We just got 10,000 postcards that are going to be going out. We have handouts to give out this weekend where we're going to be at the Easter Festival in Patterson. We have yard signs if any of you guys would like some yard signs. And welcome back. We are back now on KPSF DB Radio and all social media networks for Diego for Cali 2022. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us this morning and throughout the day while you guys are listening to the program again on a repeat through KPSF DB Radio. And you are more than welcome to like and share the social media networks that we are on. Let your friends know Diego Martinez is a candidate for Congress, District 13, north of Fresno, all the way up to Lathrop, Central Valley. We are here. If you would like a yard sign to put out in your property, please leave a comment, send me a DM, send me a private message with your address, and we will be more than happy to get them out to you guys. We have another 500 signs that just arrived. We finally got our big signs of 48 by 48, so you're going to see those along the 99 and the I-5 in every corridor from our district. I want to thank everybody who supports us, and we are back live on KPSF DB Radio going now, and let's talk a little bit about the signs are free. All my literature, everything that we have is free. I just appreciate you putting it out and supporting me. So please, just give me your information. We'll make sure that you get assigned. I don't care if you live in my district or out of my district, because the people from my district are driving around your neighborhood all the time. We have a very big district to cover. So we're going to get on going here. We talked a little bit about election fraud, integrity, fake elections, stolen elections. Is any of this going on? I have one. It says it was a dueling electors and the fake insurrection to confuse people that the Electoral College had this New World Order plan. Well, we talked about the New World Order before, and we talked about how it looks more and more like every day that we're headed that route, and that's why it's important to elect the right people. The problem is getting elected, right? Let's talk about this a little bit, because nobody ever wants to talk about election. Nobody ever wants to talk about election fraud. Is there really election fraud? Well, I got a perfect example here. Did you hear about the shooting in downtown Sacramento? Yes, I did. Let's talk about elections first, and then we're going to go right back and we're going to talk a little bit about what happened in Sacramento with the shooting. So, are our elections rigged? Some people are going to tell you, yes, they are. 100%. I believe it. No matter what happens, my vote didn't count. Some people say, no, they are actually not. Just you don't get enough people to vote. So, I have done my own digging in this. I have done my own digging in what's going on here. I have dug it out. Here is what's going on. So we can talk. Nick, give me a little bit and I'll bring you on. Our elections are rigged. They're stolen from us. But not the way you think. They're not changing ballots. Dominion isn't changing all the ballots all at once. I'm talking about local, state elections right now. Let's talk about California. Let's talk about our local elections. Let's talk about what happened here. Let's look at this. We have 22 million registered voters in the state of California. 11 million showed up to vote during the recall. Was that election stolen? Was it stolen? No. What was stolen, and listen here very carefully, and I know people are going to sit here and argue right now, and it's okay. That's what this program's about. What was stolen was your freedom. What was stolen was your freedom, was your vote. How did that happen? You turn on the news and all you hear is about what? Fake, fake, fake. Rigged, rigged, rigged. Election fraud, election fraud. Don't go out and vote. Your vote don't count. The other party has done such a great job of discouraging people from voting that's how they're stealing your vote. That's how they're stealing your election. Not by people voting and their votes getting changed. They just do it very simple. They discourage you from going out and voting. Because if you're not voting, it can't count. If you're not out there actually putting a voice in, you don't have one. And that's a lot of what's going on. They're taking your vote. They're taking your rights and they're taking your freedom. And we're allowing it. How? Because we're starting to believe it. We're not only starting to believe it, we're starting to watch it. We're starting to see people actually go out there and keep saying, don't vote. It doesn't count. It doesn't matter. Why are you voting? How many of you guys confront a person every day that says, yeah, my vote doesn't count, so I'm not voting. I'm not going to go and do this. Why? It doesn't count. It doesn't matter what I have to say. Well, let me break it down a better way for you guys. A congressional candidate's race can be won or lost by 10 votes, 40 votes, 50 votes. I have seen races as low as 25 votes make a difference of who wins. Do you think if 30 people would have gone out there and voted, it would have made a different result? Of course it would have. But the media, the left, have done such a great job of feeding and letting people know that guess what? Your vote don't count. Your vote's stolen. Nobody's out here. Nobody cares what you have to say because the left will do whatever it wants. And what do? Oh my God, I can't go out and vote. My vote isn't going to count. We push agendas such as voter ID. I'm for voter ID. I'm for actually going in person and voting. Okay? We're not there yet. We have to beat what we have to work with. So when they call about mail-in ballots, you know why they do mail-in ballots? Half of us forget to mail them back. They send them out so far in ahead, and then they tell you, you know what? You can't turn them in for 2 weeks. When was the last time that you remember to turn in your ballot when it's sat in your house for 2 weeks? So it's not so much about changing your vote. It's about getting you not to vote. And that's what's going on. So guess what? When the ballots come out, we're going to be pressing and pressing and pressing and pressing to turn those ballots in at the right time. You can go down and actually turn them in at a voting poll. You can go down and do that. You can drop them off on the mailboxes, but you have to turn them in. But everybody has to turn them in. It doesn't matter. We have got to vote. That's where the voter fraud really comes in. That's where they're stealing your election comes in. When they tell you that your vote doesn't count, that you don't need a vote because it doesn't matter, that you don't need to send yours in. Why? What's one more vote? One more vote can make the difference whether I get into Congress or I don't. One more vote can make a difference whether we get a new president or whether we don't. One more vote can make the difference if we get the right candidate running against Gavin Newsom in November. One vote means a lot. Your vote means a lot. And it's time that we show them that our voices do count and our voices do come, because that's what they're taking away from us. That's where your voter fraud, your election fraud, that's where it all comes in. Right there. It comes in every day when you do not vote. It comes in all the time when you decide not to go out and deliver your vote because it doesn't count. They have won on a mental format that our votes don't count and that our elections are stolen. So why are we voting? I have heard it over and over and over again. And my only thing to tell you is this: go out and vote. Somebody's saying, you know, Democrats, everybody, Ursula, again, always has to be in the show, right? Everybody always says, my vote doesn't count. My vote doesn't do anything. Why isn't my vote counting? Vote harvesting. We talk about this. Democrats do a great job of it, right? Well, guess what? It's not against the law to actually go and do a vote harvesting. The Democratic Party does a great job of it. Just because you vote harvest doesn't mean you have to turn in the votes. That's the problem, right? You do not have to turn in the votes. That's what's going on. So we have got to stop that. So we, as a conservative party, as a freedom party, shouldn't we be out doing the same thing, making sure that every vote counts, making sure that we turn in every ballot, making sure that everybody actually understands the importance of our voices and us out there voting? So let's stop talking about voter fraud, and let's start talking about how we're going to get more people to actually get out there and vote and actually place their vote and actually mail their votes back in. Once we get into office, once we change the legislation, then we can change the law. Then we can demand voter ID. Then we can demand being present to vote like it used to be. Many of you guys don't remember this. We used to go to our local voting place. They used to give you a ballot. You used to walk to a little private little section, and you used to sit there. And guess what? You used to sit there and vote. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. Come on, Ursula. Hey. Sorry, guys. Nobody knew what you voted for. Nobody cared. You got a little sticker that said, I voted. And that was it. That's all people knew. Not even your minister, your pastor. Nobody knew who you voted for. You went in a little booth. You voted. You sealed it up. You dropped it off. On your way with your little sticker saying, I voted. We need to vote in person, but we need to get the right people in office to change the laws that are there now. We need to stop complaining and start being proactive, because the more we complain, that doesn't fix the problems. And if you don't vote, do not complain, because it's your fault. If you voted, then you have the right to complain. If you went out and actually stood for something and you fought for something, then you have the right to complain. But if you do not vote, do not complain. If you forgot to mail in your ballot, do not complain about the results. If you keep voting in for the same people in office that are there right now that are failing us, do not complain, because that's part of the problem. We are the problem. We keep voting the same people in over and over again. And if you're an assemblyman and they want to go to Congress, look at what they've done. If they haven't done a good job for you, why would you give them a promotion? Why would you move them to the next level? Adam Gray is a Democrat running in District 13. He does no show votes. He doesn't care. He just doesn't show up to vote. So if you're not showing up to vote now, when you're an assemblyman, how are you going to be in Congress? You're going to do the same thing. Why? Because your vote don't matter because you guys overtook the Congress House. That's not the kind of person you want. You want somebody who's going to stand up. I have a lot of conservatives say, hey, you know what? He votes conservative only when he knows it doesn't count. And that doesn't matter to me. If you can't go and show up to vote 100% of the time, all the time, then you don't care enough about your job to have a job. Quit voting career politicians into office. Quit thinking that things are going to change because we vote the same people back into office, because they're not. We can only vote for who is on the ballot. We do not elect. We only select them from perimeter's choice. Actually, Brian, I'm going to argue that, because that's why there's an open primary. Before we get to the primaries, you have right now in my race, we have 5 candidates running. I'm one of them. David, John, Adam Gray, and another Democrat. You got 5 people to choose from. Choose wisely and get the right person to the primary. That's what it is. We have got to get the right person in the primary, right? So don't say that we only have what's on the ballot. We only have what's on the ballot because we only get involved when the primaries come in. We need to be on top of this year round. We need to know who's running, who's the best candidate. How do we get that person in front? Like and share the videos and let people know that they're running. Get your friends excited about it. Get a yard sign. Get something stating, this is the guy I'm standing behind because I believe in him. Oh, we don't really know who he is. Look him up. Look her up. Get the information. Get other people involved. Because that's why there's a jungle primary. So that the California people, the American people, have a choice of who they feel is best. And the problem is not enough people get involved. So not enough people know who's the best candidate. Can an independent vote in a Republican primary? Yes, everybody votes in a primary. Everybody votes. The beautiful thing about coming into a jungle primary is that everybody gets a voice. Everybody gets to vote. So when you guys go vote in District 13, you're going to see me and 4 other people just check off Diego Martinez. The more people check off Diego Martinez, the more opportunity that we have to be able to win. The more opportunity. Now we get back into the Congress. Now we go to the primaries from June to November. So it'd be me and somebody else. And then what? Then we choose the right person to get us into Washington, D.C. Now we have a voice. Now we made the first change. But that goes from Assembly, Senate, everywhere. Get involved early. Know who it is. Get behind that person and let your friends know about who it is. Sacramento's not safe. Nick, I'm hopping on that here right now. We have about 5-10 more minutes left in this segment, so we're going to talk a little bit about the shooting in Sacramento. How does that happen? Meaning only Democrats can vote in their own primary. No, everybody can vote in all the primaries. Everybody can do it all. It was a close primary in the last election due to state legislation. It's actually open. What it is that person from your sector. Sometimes this is kind of weird. So if you're a Democrat, you only get Democrat people. I remember the last presidential election, I actually went down to the county recorder's office to pull my ballot because I didn't get one in the mail. They say you're registered as a Democrat. They gave me a Democrat one and Donald Trump's name wasn't on there. I had to go back in there and say, no, I'm a Republican. I got to re-register to vote. I got a Republican form and it had both candidates. So that's the kind of stuff that we have to start looking at, and we have to make sure that every candidate's on every form and that everybody can vote for them. So let's talk about Sacramento just here before we get off today. Sad to know what happened in Sacramento. It was a violent shootout. The police don't have really anybody who actually did it. They don't know who did it. Last I heard, it was 12 people were hurt. How does this happen in our state capital? When you have the governor telling you the crime is down, you have every sheriff who's running for office right now telling you how low their crime rates are. How does this happen? How does this happen in our nation's capital? That we allow in Sacramento, right downtown, few streets from the capital, a shootout to happen. We need better law and order. We need accountability. We need to change Proposition 47 and 59. We need to make criminals criminals. We need to actually hold people accountable. When there's accountability for their crimes, people are less likely to keep committing crimes. But when it's a cite and release and a ticket That's why this happens. My heart goes out to all the families and my prayers that were involved in the shooting in Sacramento. I'm a firm believer of the Second Amendment, but I'm a firm believer of the constitutional Second Amendment. I have watched other states that have been open carry states, that have been constitutional carry states, and guess what? Their crime has dropped. I believe California needs to move into a constitutional carry state where we can actually defend ourselves and actually watch crime decrease. We're either going to have to put more police on the ground, more real police officers on the ground, but we have to change the laws. We have to show respect. We cannot let somebody give a birdie or spit or scream or yell or hit a police officer and get cited and released. It's not the way our nation was built. This is a nation of law and order. We need to go back to it. We need to have open carry permits for everybody. It should be a constitutional carry state. Somebody said CCWs. Well, CCWs were actually first invented for a workplace. So when you work somewhere, your boss will say, yeah, you can carry your gun, but it has to be concealed. That's where the CCW permit first came out. Now we're allowing an elected official who is a sheriff decide whether you need one or not. Well, that's not what the Second Amendment states. So we're contradicting ourselves when we say, hey, we're pro-Second Amendment, but it can only be carried concealed. No, because then you're not pro-Constitution. See where the problem here is? We've allowed a simple rule for you to be able to carry a gun when you were at work, but it had to be concealed, to become a state legislation law, and now it gets reduced by you have to qualify. You have to ask permission to carry a gun. Well, that's not what the Second Amendment stands for. Took 2 years for my wife to get hers right here in this county, and Eric, you're in Tuolumne County. That's not what it is. Constitutional carry. It's open carry, freedom to bear arms. A well-armed militia to defend foreign and domestic terrorists. It didn't say you couldn't have an AR-15. It didn't say you have to have this gun or that gun. The Second Amendment specifically states that it's a well-armed militia. Okay? Somebody will say, hey, at those times they only had, gunpowder, little thing here, little cannon here, nothing major. Well, a well-armed militia means that you have to be armed the same way the government is armed. It doesn't say no AR-15s. It doesn't say no semi-automatic weapons. It says a well-armed militia to defend against domestic and terrorist attacks, right? So why aren't we pushing that agenda? Why are we asking permission to be able to own a firearm? We have to ask permission to carry a firearm. That doesn't sound like a very constitutional person to me, because that's not the Constitution of the United States. Yeah, people want to say I'm a constitutionalist. Well, if you want to be a constitutionalist, follow the Constitution. We were at a church this last Tuesday, which I want to thank one more time. The Freedom Patriot group, who is now forming in Tuolumne County, is a bipartisan. All parties are welcome to this group, which I like. I thought the young man who put it together did a great job in short notice. There was about 25 people there. I was there. I was honored to have the opportunity to speak, even though it's not in my district. We had Jack Griffin for State Senate 4, who also spoke. We had a local gentleman who's running for city council in Sonora also speak. And then we had an independent gentleman who's running for Congress also in District 5, which was kind of nice to see a variety of people and different ideas come to the table. That's what this nation was built on. But I want to thank the young man, Freedom Patriots. If you guys are in Tuolumne County, look him up on Facebook. Look up his information. He's forming a group. He needs a lot of support and a lot of people to actually be able to go out there and represent and help this person be there to be able to build a group that stands for freedom, not one party or the other. It's awesome to see this. Adam Motorsports. for all of you guys out there that missed the intro, Adam Motorsports off Tuolumne Road. We will be doing another pancake motorcycle ride May 1st. Myself, Jack Griffin will also be up there, and Daniel Mercury running for governor will be up there joining us. So if you guys want to meet a gubernatorial candidate, keep your options open. I know there's a lot of guys running. I just heard from Anthony Trevino, who's also running. Jenny Ray is also running. So these people are actually still running. I believe that for governor, we really need to investigate and see every candidate. I want everybody to know that there are other options than what just the mainstream media does. If you're in Patterson this weekend, the Easter Festival is coming up. We're going to be there. If you guys want to come out and join us, if you're anywhere around the Patterson area, Sunday, come on out, come meet us, come talk to us face to face. I'm going to be there. We have a booth set up. We have plenty of literature for you to take home. We have yard signs out there also. Come say hello in the area of Patterson. After that, I'm going to go touch some doors, talk to some people in Patterson, get to know people in my district, because that's what we do. We talk to people and we get to know what's best for our district and our people. What else do we have coming up? Saturday, we're going to be out in Turlock at the gas station giving out literature about myself and other Stanislaus County candidates who are running. I'll get you guys the address. I'll post that up in all my social media coming up. I want to thank everybody who has donated to my campaign. We have yard signs, we have literature, we have postcards now, we have the 48 by 48 banners coming. If you guys can, please donate to my campaign. If you like what I'm about, like and share my videos. But please, anything that you can donate, go to the link underneath or up top. Or you can go to DiegoMartinezForCongress.com, hit the donate button. Everything helps. Everything goes to good use. I don't have all the money in the world, but we're going to keep in this race with your help. Please donate whatever you can. If you can come out to one of our events, come on out. We're looking forward to meeting everybody in our events. We're looking forward to getting to know everybody and talking to people and knowing what's going on. Another way to help my campaign, if you can't do it financially, please go on Diego Martinez for Congress and hit Team Diego and come and volunteer. We're always looking for good volunteers, whether you're from Fresno all the way to Lathrop or anywhere in between. We need people to make phone calls. We need people to help us walk the districts, get out yard signs, and share them with people. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. I want to thank you guys for being here. I want to see you guys next week. Once again, all social media networks, Diego for Cali 2022, Diego Martinez for Congress on Facebook, Diego Martinez for Governor Unofficial. We're still promoting that page and we're still moving on it. We're also on YouTube, LinkedIn, and all social media networks where this station has just gone out. And I want to do a special thanks to the radio station who's hosting me today, KPSF DB Radio on satellite radio. And it's a new radio station. We've got about 10,000 people who are out there listening to this radio station right now. This radio station keeps showing our program 2 or 3 times a week. So thank you to KPSF DB Radio for having us on. My name is Diego Martinez. Please like and share our videos. Let your friends know. Both parties have failed the California people. It's time to make a difference. It's time to get out and vote. It's time to get out and get involved. Thank you guys for joining me. I will see you guys next week on Waking Up California with Diego Martinez.